Do you consider yourself a hard worker? Well, I believe this person might put you to shame. In 2025, Merriam Webster in their online dictionary defined hardworking as constantly, regularly, or habitually engaged in earnest and energetic activities in which one exerts strength or faculties to do or perform something. To put it simply, hard work is when someone puts all their effort and soul into whatever it is they're doing and is left exacerbated with how much of themselves they put into their respective task. I believe that no one fits this criteria better than my mother, Diana Johnson. And so I'm here to commemorate and honor my mother in this speech. And as her son, Darius Johnson, I believe I'm the most qualified to speak on what kind of person my mother is. My mom fits the mold of what a person should aspire to be because of her work merit, her stagnant resilience, and her compassionate love to all she meets. Diving into what kind of person my mother is, her hard work diligence is unparalleled. To start, she knows not the rest of an easy day. My mom wakes up at 4 a.m. every day sharp with no alarm clock. She gets up with the mentality of what needs to get done today. She always tells me, and if you know me, you hear me quote this a lot, and that is, do it now because your future self will thank you. She's always bouncing around from one activity to the next, from as trivial from sweeping the kitchen to as hard as mixing concrete from her own hometown. In her younger years, she worked a plethora of jobs to make ends meet. At one time, she was working up to 3 jobs at a time, all with different knowledge and skill prerequisites she had to face, learn, and overcome. She taught herself these things all by herself, from picking herself up by the bootstraps. Continuing, my mother is stoic even in the face of losing her loved ones, which forced her to quit her job. In 2014, my father was severely electrically shocked, almost to the point of electrocution and to death. And onto this day, she fights and advocates on my dad's behalf, learning new things each and every day. She held his hand since the day they wed, and she embodies a definition of "till death do we part," and more, or more in her case of "I will never quit for you," and she's never stopped fighting for him. She quit her job to tend to her husband and her 3 kids, and even with no income, she still stood strong and knew whatever that life threw at her, she could pull through it. And with no money, a chaotic household, and a sick husband, she still showed life that no matter what it sent, she stood tall. Furthermore, despite life throwing all the fire and brimstone it could at her, she never let it get to her. And no matter if it was rain, shine, or snow, she greeted everyone she knew with a smile and a hug. My extended family all know her as the sweet aunt or the kind sister. My family knew what she had going on in her life at the time with my father, but talking to her, you would have never guessed that with how welcoming and friendly she was. Like these roses that sit out before me, she is overly sweet to everyone she meets. In his 2024 paper titled The Kindness Fix, author Jason Wood describes compassion as compassion has been increasingly framed and understood as both emotional and behavioral. That is, something that is done motivated by something that is felt. When the local school her sons went to didn't have a wrestling club, she is one of the founding members for it. She recognizes the needs and wants of everybody around her, and she sees what kind of struggle they have to go through before it even happens, and she does her best to fix that for everybody involved. To end with, I hope you all learned something positive today with my speech, and hopefully something to take away from it and apply to yourself that you got from my mother. She never quit, not once a day in her life, and she never let herself get down on or from anything. And being around her, there was never a dull moment with her around. And with that being said, is with this speech that I give these flowers to my mother.